That, I mean,
Oh,
like, yes,
there
we
you
could
go.
totally be. Oh, for fuck's sake. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to another exciting installment of Hong Kong House of Cards, where we apparently now enter every episode with me swearing because people are dick waffles.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
group.
You're welcome.
I'd like to point out we are in fact all friends and love each other very much, especially because I have this young lady's nose. Moving on.
No, I have both your noses.
God damn it!
Let him get through the intro first. God.
We're not good at this. This evening's scene will take place at the Apricot Dragon Antique and Bookstore in the Wall Cities district of Hong Kong. Now, this bookstore is well known. After all, it can get you anything, positively, absolutely, and unequivocally. Needless, you may have to pay a little bit extra for the real stuff, but it can be found, no matter where, no matter when, no matter how, no matter who. We'll get it for you. This evening, the Apricot Dragon is open late. Its little open sign is on its shabby, dusty outer door. You see the Apricot Dragon itself. It's a large sign outside. The dragon itself faded until it's now become more of a brown than an orange color, a pearl grasped in its mouth. We shall let the Hessian member of our little oddity go first as she enters the room. She enters the shop. She will immediately feel the flood of power that Hessian feel in dragons' nests wash over her. Seeing the spirit world for what it really is all around her, the wonder, the oddity.
She'll...
There is... Oh, sorry, continue.
My bad, you go. Nah, you go.
There is, from what you can see, no one in the shop. Well, it goes down several floors, so maybe there's someone on the lower levels, you theorize. And as I described the shop in every scene it's in, if you have seen the movie Gremlins, it's pretty much that shop. So, age of the books, the dust of the tomes hangs all around you. You feel it pressing down on you. What do you do?
When she first enters, she's going to stop and blink at the energy she feels, but then kind of shrugs it off and looks around. Hello? Is there anyone here?
You hear a voice speak, once again from above you.
She looks up and kind of tilts her head to the side. Hello?
You see a figure physically laying on top of one of the bookshelves with his arms clasped behind his head to keep himself comfortable. He's dressed in a long golden overcoat that's covered in Chinese symbols. His body itself is in a much more kind of sedate martial artist garb underneath as he looks towards the ceiling. Welcome to the Apricot Dragon.
Ah, hello. Might I ask what you're doing on the bookshelf?
I find that it's rather excellent to be contemplative when one is at a higher altitude than the floor, and the ceiling slightly too high.
Ah, interesting.
He will turn around and look down at the young lady. May I help you with something in particular, miss?
She shrugs. She's about 5'6", wearing a emerald green cheongsam. Hanging from her ears is a pair of black jade earrings. And
Now those are interesting, he will say, pointing at the earrings. They look like Qin Dynasty to me.
perhaps they were given to me by an acquaintance.
Ah, a friend of exquisite taste, no doubt. Would it be vulgar of me to ask a price for them?
She, at this point, will lift her left hand and run it faintly across the scar that is from the middle of her eye, or middle lower part of her eye, to the tip of her mouth and kind of frown. They aren't for sale.
Of course. You know, there are old stories. So few people wear jade nowadays. That God himself struck the earth with his very being, and from those shards of him came the jade. An interesting story, don't you think?
It is, yes, and I have heard it before.
Is it something you believe?
Perhaps.
He smiles. So, very interesting. Are you another one that the good doctor has sent me today?
Not exactly sent. I did. Are we speaking about the same doctor here? The one who...
The most honorable Wu Zung Mao.
Ah, yes. I did meet him today, but he did not send me here, no.
Ah, then we are just crossing paths as fate and fortune would prescribe.
It seems to be that way, yes.
He will casually jump down and land very casually on the ground. However, I have a question for you.
And I might have an answer.
So, if I was to say something along the lines of, "Come, I could show you great power and wonders. All you had to do was grasp a key," would you accept my offer?
She ponders that for a moment and then eventually shrugs. Perhaps, yes.
He smiles. If anyone ever asks you that question again, run, child.
Sure. Okay.
At this point, he will walk behind the counter, and there's a large kind of stone chair there that he will take a seat in, and he will say, "This city is a very dangerous place. I assume you already know this, though."
I got a feeling.
And you are new to your current state.
Yes.
How new, if one may ask?
I have known for perhaps 2 weeks at the most.
Oh. Then you must certainly have tea. And he starts to prepare tea.
He sounds lovely.
You can enter whenever you like at this point, Ian. My apologies.
We can't hear you if you're saying anything.
Maybe having connection issues. Anyway, we shall just continue until he comes back.
Yeah, we can't hear you, sorry.
The tea will be brewed and poured into delicate china cups. Yep, we'll see. Can we hear him now?
Hello?
Hey.
There we go.
Alright, so the door would open and a guy about 5'7", 5'8" would walk in. He's got a bit of a build on him, but not much of one. Kind of dark hair, glasses. He's wearing a polo shirt that's got the University of Calgary symbol, University of Calgary symbol on it, and blue jeans. He looks like he's way out of place until you look at his arms. His arms are tattooed up pretty heavily. But when one says tribal tattoos, you usually think something you'd get in downtown New York. Well, no, these are tribal tattoos that you would actually get from the real tattoo artists of islands of the South Pacific.
Okie dokie.
These are like Maui and places like that. These are the ones that a person takes a stick with a small pin in it and taps, kind of way.
Okie dokie, artichoke. As I said, you will basically see the interior of the shop from Gremlins. I assume you've seen Gremlins.
Not in a very long time.
It's basically kind of like it's basically like every kind of occult bookshop, like huge volumes in shelves and whatever else have you, like weird unguents and crystals and all that kind of malarkey, crickets in cages and such. If you've got, because you are a mage, whatever else, this shop was built basically using Occult Influence 3. So the volumes in here, some of them are rare and valuable. There's some power behind this stuff, basically.
Okay.
Just if you were interested. The bell will ring above you because there's a bell, basically. So yes, the patron of the shop will look up. He's sitting behind a carved stone counter, upon which is set a 1950s style, kind of bronze cash register. And there's a rather attractive Asian lady sitting across from him, and the two appear to be drinking tea.
Okay.
Good evening, honored patron. It is quite late. Is there something I can help you find?
No, I'm just browsing, if that's all right.
Oh, also, you just stepped into quite a powerful node.
Okay.
Cool.
He'll when he stepped in, he would have closed his eyes for a second, but then opened them like nothing happened. Move along.
Okay. There is currently tea being poured, so he will continue to pour the tea, and he will turn to the other Chinese lady and continue to converse. Saying, "I do hope you enjoy this. It is a special blend that is made from my shop by some of the most lovely tea merchants that you will ever meet."
She'll take a cup of the tea and take a small sip. That
Sweetened apricot.
I can't say I've had it before, but it is very delicious, yes. This time she'll look over at the, over at the guy who just walked in and waved. Hello.
Hi there. He'll start looking through the books on the shelves.
At this point, the monkey kind of he doesn't vault over the counter. That's the wrong phrase. He jumps up and sits on the counter in a very smooth move, and he leans in and whispers in your ear and says, like into Jia Ying's ear, and says, "Look at him. No, really, look at him, and tell me what you see."
The fuck am I supposed to see?
He's basically asking you to roll Shen Tao.
Oh, geez, just straight up Shintao?
Perception Shen Tao, actually.
Okay. I have rolled so much perception Shintao today, you don't even want to know.
It's like it's the stat we roll most often. I'm not even shitting you.
The scene I did with Flom, I can tell.
At 2 successes, you probably see the vague ripple and pattern of his aura. He does not have an ordinary person aura, but you wouldn't be able to identify what it is. It'd probably look like it's sparking or look shimmery. Or what's your pattern? Or your paradigm, rather?
That's a good question. 1 second. I'm still trying to understand all this.
Don't worry about it. We were all there once.
Paradigm? I don't even know if I wrote that down right. It says God and monsters. I don't know. For paradigm? That doesn't seem right.
Okay. I don't know that as a paradigm. But basically, okay, what's your dominant sphere? What's the sphere you have the most of?
Life. I'm a disciple of life.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's
And
level
basically,
3.
he would probably appear with having a vivid green to his aura, like a vibrant life, kind of, like the very primal essence of being kind of seeps from him. And that's what you could probably perceive.
Okay. There's no like counter rules to this, right? Don't want to like ignore that if you.
He'd have to actually actively roll stealth, but he doesn't know what you're doing. You're just looking at him, basically.
Ah, okay.
And he's trying to look like he really doesn't belong in there.
About the only thing that would change realistically, I think Chantal might activate Eyes of 8 Million Dreams very briefly.
Okay. Then while she looks over at him, her eyes will flare up a bright, brilliant azure color, and she studies him for a moment, and then looks back over to Haishin and whispers back, It's very green.
Green, you say?
Yes, very much so.
Haishin will stand and he will bow. And he will say, "Do forgive me, honored friend. My name is Haishin Xing. You are in my establishment. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance."
He turns and looks and gives a slight bow. I'm Eli Callahan. It is a pleasure to meet you.
He will kind of tap his own, he will basically activate his own Shentao. Kim, would you mind rolling 3 dice for me? He's not actually that great at Shentao. I'll blow a willpower, though.
Oh, you got it.
Haha. Okay, cool. He will kind of blink and he will smile and he will say, we do not often get members of the lightning people frequent my humble shop, but a pleasure to make your acquaintance nonetheless.
Okay,
he does have mage lore, so he can identify what a mage aura looks like.
I don't think he's ever heard of them referenced as lightning people. I don't think I ever heard them referenced as lightning people. He'll look confused.
He will say, "Will workers?" Might that be a more appropriate phrase?
Yes. And he's going to reach into his pockets, rub something on his hand, and then rub his eyes for a second. And activate Spirit Sight. Yep.
Okay. You will, because we're not going to actively resist, you will see both of us in our Wani forms. So this character literally looks like he does in my little display picture there. So he looks like kind of a golden-hued monkey with the tail and all. And Kimberly, would you like to describe what you actually look like?
Her skin will have a light bluish tint to it. Scales on her neck are gills. And if you look down at her hands, there will actually be webbing between her fingers.
Okay. And yeah, that'll be good for the scene. I'll keep it up here, just in case.
This is also a dragon's nest, so there are a lot of spirits around, just in general spirits.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi.
He will turn, the monkey will turn to Jia Ying and say, "The august personage sometimes chooses those, and it is literally as though they are struck by lightning, for they are chosen by God to do his work and do his miracles directly. Whereas we are his handservants upon this world, they are like a conduit of his power, made manifest, though sometimes chaotic. Or so the legends go."
I see. And she'll stand up and she'll bow to both Eli and actually Hyson. I don't think they actually introduced. I can't remember. I am Jia Ying Zhao.
He'll bow back. Eli Callahan. Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure is all mine.
You will have already heard him say his name anyway. If you, I think he may have introduced himself, but if he hasn't, yeah, he has said his name. May we offer you some tea, honoured friend?
Sure. Thank you.
He will walk back over, and as he walks, you will see him shift into basically being an anthropomorphic monkey. Because he does this primarily because it gives him the use of his tail as essentially another hand. As his tail will grab basically a cup and he will put it down and then pour into the cup and then slide it across the table to you using the tail.
He'll pick it up and take a sip.
It's delicious tea.
He'll kind of do the cheers and take a bit bigger of a sip.
Mm. So,
Now that
what
you guys
is
are
it
closer,
that brings
you can actually, once you guys are actually closer, you can actually see the medical symbol that's just behind the University of Calgary symbol on the polo shirt.
So what is it that brings you to our fine city from so far away?
I am learning different styles of medicine.
Ah, you should meet with the Mandarin then. He nods, to more so to himself than anyone else. The honored Mandarin, Hulin, or Dr. I think it's Hulin Zhao. I may be mispronouncing that. My character won't mispronounce it, but yes. He is a practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine and is well renowned for taking care of his patients.
Oh. Perhaps I should one of these days.
It would be best to make an appointment with him first.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. And how would one do that?
The monkey will reach under the table and will pull out a business card and casually, flick it across the table.
He'll catch it and put it into his, or look at it and then put it into his pocket. Thank you.
You are more than welcome. After all, we are all friends in this Hong Kong, are we not?
Yes. Well, most of us, from what I understand. Already run into some strange people, but...
Oh, and who might they be?
I think somebody... I don't know if it was actually them, but they were talking about a group called the Wu Kang.
Luo Kang.
The Wu Kang.
On an out-of-game note, what is the Wu Kang?
You got me. You had me too, and then I rolled a 5 successes on the lore, which means I still got to look it up.
Hooray!
I think, if I remember correctly, because I was in that scene too, you're pretty much just like bad people. You don't want to mess with them because.
Oh, that's helpful.
Yeah. I forgot. It's been like.
Because it's it's World of Darkness. There's none of those kinds of people anywhere.
Oh right.
Yeah. They're the guys that like boil you and do stuff like that.
Are they evil mages? Is that what they are? They're evil mages, aren't they?
They're definitely stuff of nightmares.
I'm just. What's the appropriate lore?
Mage lore, but I don't know. I don't know the specifics on difficulty or the such. I just know that I rolled on two lore checks that night. I got like 12 successes. So I
It's
was
cool.
like,
He'll kind of look at you and shrug at the concept of a Wu Kang. In the back of his head, he's thinking, "Hang on, isn't the Wu Kang clan not something you should fuck with?"
probably not.
Yes. Back to in characteriness. Anyway, cough. So, that is most interesting. As it stands, we are currently facing our own dilemma.
Oh?
He looks back to Jiaying and say, "What do you know of the Yama Kings?"
Not much, only that I came into contact with one of their worshippers or something like that today. They luckily did not notice me, and the Mandarin said it was because I didn't have any internal alchemy, but I did make the mistake of touching this being twice.
And it sucked away your soul. Or some of it, anyway.
Yes, it was very unpleasant.
You must be careful, young one. That is, and he'll give his Chinese name, but it translates to poisoned well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what is. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I think it is Poison Will, is what...
I know that's his English name, but I can't remember the Chinese name to save my life. And he will say, "This entity is most dangerous, most unpredictable. No, he is not good. He is here because there are great layers of protection." He will kind of point upwards towards the ceiling and move his hand around in a circle. "That protect us from above, you understand. That keep out the servants of the Yama Kings, their foul decrees and their foul potentates. However, because the circle has been weakened recently, they are spilling through the cracks, would I suppose be the most apt way of phrasing it. That creature tried to tempt me to go to its realm to meet its masters by offering me a false key. Do you understand yet? Do you understand the significance of the key?"
I believe I do, yes.
"It is the sign of our forgiveness and our reinstatement to the celestial bureaucracy, that we may one day yet again step into the yin and yang worlds, walk through heaven and hell as his messengers to do his will."
Ah,
The monkey kind of looks sad at that. Like, sad monkey.
she'll reach over and gently pat his shoulder.
His tail kind of flicks happily. "You have an awful lot to learn."
Oh yes, I do understand this very well.
Who were you in your first life?
What do you mean by that?
Well, when we come to be what we are, we take another breath into life. But first we must unfortunately die. I was wondering who you were before your death.
I can't remember. A young girl.
And do you remember how the young girl received this? And he brushes his hand down the scar.
That was actually me who received that. From what the Mandarin told me, it was... I received a soul, a Hessian soul. It was weird, and I am probably not explaining it right, but I received this, and she touches the scar. I received this when I was 16, coming home from the library 2 years ago.
He contemplates. Why do you keep it?
It is a part of me now, and actually has helped me some. Not in many ways, but enough.
He nods. So where do you go from this shop? Where do your feet take you?
More than likely back to my apartment after this so I can sleep and ponder some more on everything I have learned today.
He will nod and he will say, "It is often best, and we are taught, when this change comes upon us, that we must distance ourselves from our last life. We must step out of who we were to become who we are." Does this make sense to you?
It does, and she'll look over towards Eli. But, perhaps it is a bit rude to be excluding your guest, since this is not my shop, your guest from this conversation as well.
Of course. 10,000 apologies on it, sir.
Oh no, not at all. I'm here in Hong Kong to learn and.
And he will point using his kind of his index finger from himself to her and then back again, are the Hessian. We are the guardians of Hong Kong. If there is anything you would like to know about the city or its people, we are happy to share this wisdom in the light of this Tarot Council.
Tarot Council.
That is what they call it, I believe.
Haven't heard of it before.
It is an organization set up in order to better the lots of life of the supernaturals living in this city, who must live under the constant oppression of the 5 metal dragons. What many would call the technocracy.
Yeah. He walks outside for a moment, spits on the ground, and then comes back in.
Ah, I see you've heard of them then.
How can I have not?
To be honest, even I was told of the technocracy and how they have taken one of our own.
Oh,
Yes, or at least that's what the Mandarin has told me.
who was taken? Ah, you speak of Min.
I believe that is his name, yes. The Mandarin just said wood snake.
Ah, yes. He is a member of the Fu Shi, a most noble family. I do not know him very well. I have met him several times in passing. But yes, he is currently their prisoner in one of their bastions, and we cannot allow him to remain there. Oh my, no.
Certainly not.
What you must understand, and I will not keep you long upon this topic as I do not wish to exclude our honored friend, is that when you become one of us, Hessien, you become a part of our family. We will treat you as if you are our brother, our sister, our daughter, our son, our mother, and our father, because in the end we are all upon the path to redemption, the path to enlightenment, and only those who walk the path together can find their way to the winding, twisting outcome.
I see.
But yes, I do beg your pardon. So, and you are some kind of medical practitioner then, are you, Will Worker?
Yes, I'm a third-year medical student at the University of Calgary.
Ah, a most odd place then to take a sabbatical is Hong Kong.
Well, I've been traveling many of the islands of the South Pacific and ended up coming here. About Asian medicine practices. Hello. Test.
Yeah.
Sorry, this will come on the radio because he has an old radio sitting in the corner. Just because it's new, so I said I might as well just announce it. A citywide announcement on all TV and radio channels. There has been another explosion linked to the anti-PLA groups. A residential ship disembarked from Hong Kong heading towards Tokyo, Japan, and shortly after entering international waters was boarded and blown up. The ship was believed to have been known by James Russell. Further details are not known at this time.
Damn.
Oh dearie, dearie, dear. There's so much violence in the world. So much violence.
Certainly. She looked over at Eli. I don't know much in the ways of medicine, but I could possibly help you a little if you wanted to learn, more. Like I said, I don't know much, but I would enjoy helping.
I would be thankful. Thank you.
It isn't a problem.
Question for you, good proprietor of this store.
By all means, honoured friend.
Do you have any books on runic magic?
Define runic magic.
Magic done with runes. Sorry, runes done like with Old Norse magics and stuff like that.
He will contemplate for a moment, kind of sitting back in his chair, stroking his chin.
He would take,
He will say,
take out a pen and draw example. It's actually Eli is actually partly. It's not a primary practice for him, but he is apt in runic magics. He'll actually draw a legitimate rune.
the Hessian looks down and blinks twice. He's kind of like, I'm afraid that I do not. However, I have many books on sacred symbology as they would pertain to Chinese practices. The sacred, what we would consider to be runic script.
It kind of points to the floor. Well, which floor?
He will walk over and he will basically point down to the second floor into the ground, and he will say, if you look down there, I'm sure you may find something of interest.
Oh, thank you very much. And he'll go down and flip through the books.
Absolutely. It's basically kind of all... it's basically all, how would I describe it, kind of advanced, sacred numerology and, occult symbology for ancient China. So, like different Haizhen symbols. You actually see a number of these symbols carved into the floor and walls all around you. And so, things that are used for protection, things that are used for, enhanced fertility, things that are used for, the blessings of the hearth and home kind of stuff.
Wait a second. There's one for enhanced fertility carved into the floor of the store? What?
No, there's in the books, those are the kind of things. I mean, if you wanna.
Well, you did say carved into the floor and then immediately went into...
Oh my god.
He didn't break that up very well.
I can English. I can Englamagish. Anyway, moving swiftly away from my failure to turn a phrase.
He will return, not carrying any books quite at that moment, but.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing I'm quite looking for right at the moment, but
If you think of a specific title you're interested in, I can, of course, order it in for you.
Might be a little difficult to find these books.
He smiles and says, "You would think that."
It's becoming a lost art.
Once again, honoured sir, I'm rather... how would I explain this? I'm rather... certain I would be able to find what you are looking for.
All right, I will keep that in mind. Next time I think of a book. The problem is thinking of the books, because there's not really a very defined list kicking around of them.
No, I would think not.
That is the obvious problem with a dying art. It's the fact that a detailed list does not really exist that well.
No doubt.
He nods kind of contemplatively. If I may ask, what practice are you, sir?
What practice?
He nods. I would know them as practices, but I may have chosen the wrong word.
Do you mean tradition?
Hmm.
I'm verbena.
He kind of blinks. You will forgive me. I am aware of those who are native, such as the Akashic Brothers and the members of the most honorable Wu Lung. That is not a name I have ever encountered before.
We are known for our healing magics and respective life.
Ah, life. Yes. It is indeed a power and a privilege to serve those who are it is indeed a power and a privilege to serve life as your ultimate master.
But I have other skills. For instance, I can see your other sides.
Mm-hmm. He looks back towards the other Hessian and says, "That is indeed a very interesting power, to be able to see what one truly is."
She at this point has not been paying much attention. Her eyes have kind of got a glazed over look as she, has retreated into her mind. When she realizes that Haishin is speaking to her, she, blinks her eyes and snaps up to look at him. Huh? My apologies, what?
He casually kind of dangles. Have you ever seen a dowsing crystal?
Yeah.
He has one of those that he has in the inner folds of his robe that he kind of drops down from the palm of his hand, so it kind of snaps and allows it to kind of focus just in front of her face, and he twirls it back and forth and he says, "Look at the shiny thing."
Haha, how funny. As I said, my apologies. Now what were you saying?
I was saying it is indeed a gift to be able to see what one truly is.
I was just mentioning that I can see your guys' other side.
And she, her cheeks kind of flare up a little bit. How do I look? I actually haven't, so...
What is here? Okay, you know what? I'm going to take out a piece of paper. Yeah, I'm going to spend a willpower on this. It's probably not going to turn out too well, but holy crap. He draws you an artist rendition of your other side with 4 successes.
Oh, dang.
It's actually a rather nice drawing.
She'll gingerly take it and kind of look over. That looks like a mermaid fish thing. Wow.
You are a member of the most honorable family of Sui Tengu, also known as the Sea Gods, or Water Elemental, young one.
That's what the Mandarin said I was, but I never turned into, he called it Wani form. I just haven't tried it, so I didn't know how I looked. She'll look over towards Eli and smile faintly. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm not normally a good artist. I guess you just mused me there.
Oh, thank you.
Perhaps this is the time for an excellent lesson. He will clap his hands together. If I may, of course.
No, go ahead.
He will walk up behind you and he will put his hands, he'll shift back to his ordinary form, and he will say, he'll put his hands over your eyes, and he will say, listen to the rolling waves that beat within your own heart, the pounding of each beat. Dum, 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 dum. Now, let that rhythm stir you. Feel the water crash all around you. Feel it leave your heart and extend through every limb, through every strand of hair, out through your eyes, your mouth. Feel the water surround you. The void, its cold and welcoming embrace. And in that one moment, you are no longer the water, but the water is you. And now, open your eyes. And if you would like to shift, that would be a really cool thematic moment to do it.
Sure, yeah, she'll.
I was totally half expecting you to have lost your connection there for a moment when he went through all that.
I would have cried. I would have legitimately cried. There would be legit tears right about now.
No, she'll kind of sit there and actually start swaying slightly, and then she'll switch into Wani form, in which, she's got bluish skin with scales, gills on her, neck and webbing between her fingers. Her hair gets a little longer as well.
Oh yeah, it does that, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, it was in a bun anyway, so as it grows longer, the bun kind of loosens and hair hangs down from the bun. She'll open her eyes and just see his hands. You can move
He'll
them.
he will have moved the hands down. Hey Brett, just one moment, sir. He will have moved the hands down and given you a mirror.
She'll take it, and that's when she'll actually see the webbing on her fingers, between her fingers, and she'll lift it up and kind of move her hand back and forth looking at it. Then she'll finally look in the mirror and, gingerly touch her face and everything.
Mm-hmm. And he will say, this is what we call the god's body. Welcome to what you are on the inside, I suppose.
Oh, I see. And she'll look over towards Eli. You did draw a very wonderful picture.
Thank you.
Brett, quick question. Would Arthur rather show up or would he rather have a phone call? It's one or the other. I don't mind.
Probably be a phone call, considering the fact that he's very noticeable and there's a curfew.
Oh, there's a curfew now. I completely forgot that. Yay!
Yep, 2 o'clock.
Everyone's spending the night. Anyway,
It was 9:59, and Eli was in a rush.
okay, I'm willing to accept this. So basically, I sent you a text message. So shall we assume that you call the number back? Because that makes complete sense.
Let me take a look at the message real quick. I barely got a chance to look at it.
Oh yeah, no worries. Take your time.
Yeah, he'll call you back.
Cool. The phone will buzz from an inner table, from the table of the cashier's desk, and Haishen will bow to the collective, and he will walk behind the desk, open the drawer, remove the phone, and look at it and say, "Ah, very interesting." He will look towards the mage. "Your speaker is currently calling me."
Oh.
Have you met Mr. Wainwright?
Yes, Arthur. Yes.
Very good.
Arthur's not speaker anymore.
Oh, I haven't been told that. So,
Way to give Eli wrong information.
Oh, for fuck's sake! I try my best. He'll place the phone down on the counter and he'll put it on speaker. "Good evening, Mr. Wainwright."
Hai Shin, correct?
"That is my name."
I was calling back about the text you sent us. I'm aware of what actually happened with the pillars. As soon as I can figure out who attacked me, I'll be able to figure out what's going on.
I have some rather unfortunate information as it pertains to this. Also, two of the we shall start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start, you know. Two of the Walking Dead came to me and they requested that lightning glass be obtained in order to create a ritual to fix the pillar of light in question. We have acquired them the lightning glass that they sought. So, is there any other reagents that you will be requiring?
I was never involved in the creation of the rituals. Those rituals were based off of Catholic faith, particularly Order of St. Michael, so I would talk to them about it.
I see.
Adriana Ramirez is the one that had the contacts with, I believe his name was Fyodor Karamazov, and Michael Utrice were the two two priests that were involved in it. You say you got your hands on Fulgurite. That's not an easy thing to get your hands on.
Indeed. It was not an easy matter, however it was obtained.
Very well. But sounds like that'll be good. My current issues right now is trying to stop them from breaking the other two pillars, as well as trying to keep the technocracy from knocking down doors.
Yes, it is on that matter that it is urgent that we speak. What do you know of entities that call themselves the Yoma Kings?
If I remember my ancient Chinese and Japanese mythology, the Yoma Kings were the guardians of hell, of the thousand hells. They were responsible for making sure that no prisoners escape. They're also likened unto the Catholic demon lords.
You are indeed
I'm
well
not.
informed.
I won't name them aloud, as that tends to draw attention.
Also correct. There are a number of my kind, a number of the former servants of the august personage, who have turned their back upon his glorious light and the thought of their own redemption in order to serve the Yoma Kings. One of their number, who is both powerful and ancient beyond measure, has arrived in the city to do their master's will, and I believe is going to try and sabotage the other two beacons.
You think so?
I've met him. Indeed.
You've met this person. What did he look like? Did you get a picture of him? Did he give a name?
He did. Insert name. It translates to poisoned well. Is the name. I informed the Mandarin as to this, and he said that the others should be you should be contacted, etc. Because, as I have said, he was trying to trick young Hessian to take a false key to go and meet his benefactors. He is only apparently capable of materializing himself in the city because one of the beacons has already been destroyed. Thus, it is weakened enough for him to exist here.
That sounds accurate. Oh, is he like the rest of your kind, where you can't be in the mirror world?
No, he can.
then I know where I need to start looking. If you talk to Tony or any of my other brother mages, do not tell them where I've gone.
Oh, is this something that I really should be? Oh dear, you're not. Oh dear, you're not going to do something very silly, are you?
I'm the only person right now that can fight in the Umbra that's not a shapeshifter.
He will not. He will kind of. He kind of cups his head in his hands and says, "We do not necessarily know he is in the yin or yang worlds. When I met him, he was on the physical plane. He has the ability to be there, but I do not know if he is or if he isn't."
Well, it's
Just so you
fortunate.
know, Eli kind of puts his finger to his mouth, indicating not to say that I'm there.
Okay.
Well, I can go to both the yin and the yang worlds, so that's not a problem. And I've got spies in both lands.
Is that advisable in your current condition, however?
My condition is irrelevant to the safety of the city.
You are a very brave man. Very well. I will inform the Mandarin that you will be attempting to, shall we say, cut this entity off on that side. What the Mandarin recommended is that the ritual needs to be performed. Bear in mind, if one of our kind of sufficient age is here and sufficient power, he represents he represents one of the greatest threats to the city. This is a thing that could literally turn an entire city street to dust if he so wanted to. So we need to get that pillar operating again and drive him out.
That sounds about right. I'm not sure what kind of creature attacked me, but I do not believe it was one of yours. Not unless you can control thunderstorms and be scared away by the sheer light of the moon.
We can control thunderstorms.
Are any of you guys weak against direct moonlight?
Out of character, I don't think so. So no.
No,
Hooray.
you're not. So,
He will say no, but in that case, no, I do not believe it was one of us who assaulted the pillar itself. I believe that this entity is only here because the barrier itself is weakened, and he wants to weaken it yet further so that his masters can corporeate here.
I have allies of my own watching over the other two pillars, and with the unfortunate crackdown, doing anything out in the open is going to be dangerous for any supernatural.
I assume that this is, as I said, we are dealing with ourselves here. I assume this is a secure line.
Yes, it's secure. Fortunately, I have other friends that are good at making things secure.
What exactly happened in the night? Is it the night market?
Yes.
I believe it's called.
I wasn't there. I only saw what happened on the news report. It looked like somebody walked into the night market with a bomb and set it off. However,
Oh dear.
there's also the fact that the leader of the technocracy in the city was in the night market as well. If you're like all other people of fate that I believe you are, then you know that there is no such thing as coincidence in this world.
It is all ordained by the august personage. We move from one point to the next along his plan.
Yeah, there's an old Japanese saying, there is no such thing as coincidence, only that which is inevitable.
And now we hear reports about a sunken naval ship, apparently.
Residential ship.
Residential ship, my apologies.
Yeah, I knew the person who owned it, and if everybody was on it like I think they are, we just lost some very powerful and very valuable allies.
Why? What has occurred?
The name of the ship, the name on the ship was Jimmy Russell. The person who I knew as Jimmy Russell also went by the name Castle King. He was a member of a group of technomages in the city that were working against the technocracy. It seems they were trying to leave and their ship blew up.
They were trying to escape.
I think they were trying to get out of the city so they didn't draw attention to themselves. they've been in fear for a long time that if they ever got found out, that Smith would trace them back to us and kill everybody. So I would say they weren't trying to escape, they were trying to make us not an obvious target. And by doing so, it sounds like they made themselves a target.
In that case, may they be granted swift and painless transition through the wheel.
One can only hope. Maybe we'll meet again. Maybe we'll meet them again someday. Regardless, I now need to get into the Umbra and start doing a sweep. Let's hope that this doesn't turn out any worse. Anything else that you need?
Hope.
Anything else that you need from the mages? Contact the speaker, Adrian DeSalle. I'll text you his number so that you can contact him personally.
Ah, yes. I thought you were the speaker of the mages.
I was. Unfortunately, my condition has rendered me unsuitable for that position. Adrian DeSalle is a master mage of the Order of Hermes, and he is the obvious superior of the mages in the city. I was voted into position because people liked me, apparently.
As you say. In that case, I wish you good hunting in the yin and yang worlds, my friend. Stay safe.
You as well. Don't do anything foolish either.
With that, he will click the hang up button and kind of once again he will splay his hands and kind of rub his temples. Oy.
You did not break his wishes. You did not tell me. I overheard.
Yes. Now I have no doubt that you need to go and make several phone calls.
I will, but what is going on?
In all honesty, I don't know. You know as much as I do in the simple conversation we just had with Mr. Wainwright.
I'm new to this. I know very little about what's going on in the city, in general.
Indeed. By the way, Brett, what time is it in-game currently?
Currently in game, I will say it's about 10:45.
Okay. At this point, Hai Shin will stand up and he'll kind of, run his hand across his head, clearly thinking, considering the death of these individuals this evening, it would be most unfortuitous if you gentlemen and lady were to be caught out this evening after curfew. You must please, I beg of you, accept my offer of hospitality for the evening.
Of course. Thank you.
Oh. Yes, thank you.
So much loss of life. He will kind of potter around and, straighten up his desk. I think that it is about time that I returned in myself for the evening. After all, I opened the shop quite early in the morning. I shall have breakfast arranged for you before you leave.
Thank you.
Do you need any help around the shop?
He looks and he says, "Ah, yes. As a matter of fact, I have been looking for someone to help me run this ramshackle old place. Are you interested in work?"
I wouldn't mind some extra work, no.
Excellent. And then it'll give us time to speak upon the matters that you clearly should be made aware of.
Indeed.
Wonderful. In that case, I shall show you both to your rooms. And I think that that's a good place to cut there. Unless Fred wants to flow us up with something.
No, there's been enough explosions tonight, and a couple of tentacled horrors, so...
Oh, God!
To be fair, I think would Eli, as medical personnel at one of the hospitals, actually have paperwork necessary to be out after curfew?
You can't. I would say that it's brand new, but if you have your actual ID badge, you can justify that you're out looking for supplies and and with all the destruction, you're out providing support care.
I'm not going to break curfew, but it's good to know that there is an argument to be made with my ID.
Okay, so thank you very much for an awesome scene, and yeah, yay Hong Kong. I'm not as good at outros as you are, Brett. I admit this. It's a weakness of mine.
Well, not many people can throw in deadpan witticisms and make them stick. So
It's true.